Japan is made out of multiple different smaller kanji, so that the meaning can be more complex. Regarding US and Canada, not too much difference.
Canadians are really offended if you think they're Americans. They will be very offended. Hello everyone, this is James. Welcome back to this series again. So today I have an international student in Winnipeg with me, all the way from Japan, and I will let him to introduce himself to you. Can you please introduce who you are, what's your name, where you're from?
All right. Hello, my name is Soichiro Tanaka. I am an international student who came from Japan. Specifically, I came from a place north of Tokyo. I came to Canada because when I was younger, I used to live in the States for about 4 years. And I wanted to be in an English-speaking environment, but more specifically, a more international environment when I went to college. So yeah, I came to Winnipeg and decided to come here to study.
Cool. So, おはようございます。
おはようございます。
はじめまして。ありがとうございます。So that's all I can say in Japanese. Not all. I can say a little bit, couple more, but not much more. So the reason why I want to interview him is because not long ago, a few weeks ago, the first time I met you, remember? Yeah. I asked you, where are you from? You said, you're from Japan. I said, why your English is so good? Because a lot of Japanese students, they have a very strong accent, but this guy doesn't. First of all, what's your name again?
Oh, yeah, my name is Soichiro.
Soichiro.
That's it.
Is there any meaning behind it?
The word so is made out of a kanji, which has a kanji. So some kanjis in Japan is made out of multiple different smaller kanjis, so that the meaning can be more complex. So what so means is that it has a kanji which means ear in that word. So what it means that when my parents wanted to name me, they wanted me to be a person who will listen to other people. Okay. So yeah, ichi means number one. Because
yeah, ichiban, right?
Yeah, ichi, yeah. But more accurately because I'm a firstborn child.
Oh, okay.
Back in about 40 years ago, Japan used to some parents in Japan used to name people Ichiro, Niro, Sanro.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Ichiro is still common. The other ones gradually got faded over time, but okay. Yeah, it's just a fancy name.
Yeah, good to know. So you seem like a little bit nervous, so relax, don't worry.
You can tell.
Yeah, I can tell you're a little bit nervous. So right. Don't worry, this is a very casual conversation, okay?
Yeah.
So, as I said, you told everyone you lived in the US for a few years.
Yeah, I did.
So, how you end up in the US before?
Oh, yeah. It's actually, I ended up in the US not because of any actions of mine, but mainly because, well, what was it? Oh, right. My father works in a company in Japan, which recently bought a company in the US.
Oh, okay.
So he was sent there to
do work.
To do work, basically.
Yeah. So you were just with your dad, your family?
We could just come with him because I was still very young.
Yeah. How old were you at the time?
I was it was near the end of kindergarten, so
4, 5?
4 or 5, around that age, I believe.
And then you stayed until grade?
Yeah, I stayed until elementary school, 4th grade.
For 4th grade, so yeah, grade 4, you...
Grade 4, I stayed up until grade 4 and went back to Japan. Okay.
Do you feel like the experience there made your Japanese worse?
It definitely did. It sabotaged a lot.
Okay. Do you still write and read Japanese very well?
No, I can speak Japanese very well. However, writing and reading, especially the kanji, which is basically a Chinese characters which the Japanese language use. It is basically the same as some Chinese characters. However, we say it in different ways. They all have similar meaning, but we have different grammatical and verbal uses for them. Okay. But yeah, regarding that, I am not good at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after you lived in the US, then your whole family moved back to Japan. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yes. Okay. So you've been living in Japan for grade 4 until now. You lived for another 10 more years, right?
Yeah.
So you lived in the US for 4 years, and now you just arrived to Canada when? When did you get here?
About 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? Yeah. So that's why I want to interview him, because I want to interview someone who is very new to this city. And I told you this, right? Maybe after a year, I will interview you again to ask you what perspective you changed. And then 4 years ago when you graduated from your university, I can interview you again to dig more your experience. It's like a long-term documentary thing. You're gonna be on my channel a lot, hopefully.
Yeah.
So tell us something about, so far you've been here for 3 weeks. You lived in the US, you lived in Japan. The 3 places, what's the difference?
Well, actually, regarding the US and Canada, there's actually very little difference, actually. Suburbs are similar, the schools are similar, the universities can have a different feeling. However, regarding US and Canada, not too much difference. It's just minor differences such as like some traffic laws and stuff. Other than that, it's pretty much the same as the US. I think maybe the people here are a bit different compared to where I used to live, but
yeah. I guarantee you that once you really learn about Canadian culture, you will feel, yes, in the regular living way, it's similar, but culturally it's very different. Very different. Canadians are really offended if you think they're Americans. They will be very offended.
Oh God.
And then Canadians are, I don't know how to say that. Americans are polite too, but Canadians are more laid back.
Oh, laid back.
Yeah, you will feel it. Okay, so how about Japan? The difference between Japan and Canada or the US?
Well, a lot, especially between Japan and Canada, and the Canadas and the Japan, Canada, and between Japan and the US, they are very different.
Very different, yeah.
Regarding other than the fact that the environment is way different. For example, Japan, well, at least where I was supposed to live, it was a big metropolis. Tokyo and the greater Tokyo area is a big metropolis.
Yes, for sure, the biggest city in the world.
One of the biggest, actually, if you include the greater Tokyo area, it is probably the biggest city in the world.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's pretty densely populated, but regarding like the environment, if you go to Winnipeg, you'll see the downtown and you see the skyscrapers there, right? In Japan, that's everywhere. Yeah, as far as I can see. So if you ever decide to come to Tokyo, you will be surprised, I think.
So, any similarity? What's the things you feel? Oh, it's similar to Japan here.
Actually, regarding some parts of the culture, is actually pretty similar. Like a lot of the parts of the culturally is a bit different. However, when it comes to politeness or like lending a hand to people, it is very similar here. Yeah, I agree. I've been to Japan a few times. I know Japanese people are very polite, and Canadian people are very friendly. They always smile to you, asking you, do you need any help, right? Yeah, in that regard, they're very similar, I believe. Yes, yes. So, you just been here for a couple of weeks. When you landed here that day, what was your was this first time you come to Canada? No, this is actually my third time. But my third time? Your third time? This is my first time staying for so long. Okay. Yeah. So before, when you came to Canada, what did you do here? Yeah, the first time I went to Canada, I went to Banff. Banff, okay. Yeah, I lived in the States, so me and my family decided that since Banff looked beautiful, we decided to visit. Okay, just for visiting, for tourism. For about a week, I believe. Okay. Best decision I ever made in my entire life. When you come to Canada, go to Banff. You will not regret it. Like absolutely. Yeah. It is one of the Rockies. Rocky Mountains, like beautiful. The lakes are beautiful. Yeah, like, the nature. Yeah. Like, I highly recommend you visit Banff once in your lifetime. Do you think Canadian nature is similar to Japanese nature? No, it's not completely. It's not? Yeah, well, depends. Like actually no, because Japan, like there's Tokyo and Osaka and other cities and stuff. However, the reason why cities in Japan are so concentrated in specific places is because the places, Japan's very mountainous. Yeah. And although Canada is mountainous as well, Japan's mountains have, slightly different trees. Oh, the temperatures are a bit different. Oh yeah, for the temperature, of course, yeah. So, yeah, there's a different feel to the mountains. Okay. That's for sure. So, before this time, you really, like this time I can say you are really, you moved to Canada. Yeah. Because for a long time, you're not planning to stay here for 2 months, you're planning to stay here for years, right? Yeah. So, before you moved to Canada this time, did you do any research about Canada? Actually, a lot. What did you learn about that? What did you learn about Canada? So, when I did my research, I mainly researched about, if I remember correctly, how the money works, how much credit cards are used, and the visa thing. The visa thing was hectic. Okay. But yeah, but other than that, yeah, I did some research about the city specifically. the food and what I need to be careful of, all those kind of things. I did research on that.
So how's the food treating you so far?
Oh, actually, since I lived in the States, it was like when I first dated back in the States. The food is actually, it tastes very similar.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food here?
Pizza.
Pizza? I'm not a pizza fan. I don't know why. I can't be in love with pizza. It's just too simple for me. But I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
So other than pizza, anything else make you feel, oh, this is delicious. This is something you want to eat every day?
Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes?
I used to eat it back in elementary school when I was in the States. I used to love mashed potatoes with gravy. It was really nice. And I got to taste it again after like, I don't know, 6 years.
Okay, finally?
Yeah, finally.
Feel the similarity? Like
yeah, that's when I kind of felt like I was back.
Good, so that's kind of a good feeling for you, huh?
It was a good feeling.
Any homesick yet?
Actually, surprisingly, other than some aspects, almost none.
Oh.
Mainly because, I think this is mainly because I used to live in the States, and yeah, to me, so far at least, it is very similar to the place where I used to live in the States, which is actually Tennessee, by the way.
Tennessee, okay.
Yeah, Tennessee. It's very, especially the suburbs, the foods, like everything is a bit more familiar. It's not alien to me. So it's like, yeah.
Okay, Tennessee whiskey is pretty famous there, do you know?
Yeah, no,
you're pretty young. I don't know if you're aware of that. I don't know if your dad likes to drink.
Yeah, my dad kind of likes to drink.
Okay. Yeah. So, no homesick. Do you talk to your parents all the time?
Weekly.
Weekly?
But it's worth saying that most of my international friends talk to them on a daily basis.
Yes, that's what I know, yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends on the person. I believe this is very important to say. However, if you, actually I'll get into like how you should maybe, what's best to manage yourself later.
Yeah.
However, regarding parents, if you're close to your parents or like you spend most of your life with your parents, spending time with your parents, I believe it's better for you to like talk to them very often, because that will probably help you like adjust a bit more. Like, you're not going to be meeting them all the time. So maybe talk to them frequently at first. Some people continue talking to them frequently. Some of them do FaceTime as well. And yeah.
So you say you talk with them by like every week? Like
every week, but usually.
Are you planning to add more times to talk with them?
Probably not, because I'm gonna get busy. Okay. Yeah, but.
Are you the only child in the family?
I am the only child. I also don't have any cousins, so I'm the only child in my entire like.
Is your mom complaining about you not calling her often enough?
Oh no, not
She's
at
okay?
all. Yeah, when she wants to like call me, she just texts me. She doesn't necessarily call me. Then I can respond at any time. Okay,
so not very homesick. That's very surprising to me.
It is unusual.
Yeah.
That's for me, my case. However, for most people, you're gonna get homesick. I believe it's most likely that. So maybe if you lived in like an environment similar to this, for example, if you've been to the States, other parts of Canada, you might feel a bit of nostalgia. But for most people who lives in completely different environments, you will probably feel homesick. So it's probably best to keep in mind that and hopefully adjust accordingly.
Does your parent, like your mom or dad, they speak very good English?
About that, I am the only family member in my entire family who can speak English. So
when your dad was working in the US, how could he communicate with the local workers?
He tried his best. He cannot speak fluently, but he could speak enough to basically communicate. But he did try very hard. He used like, what was it? These translators devices, as well as help from other people too.
So were you the one who wanted to come to Canada, or your parents wanted you to?
Actually, at first it was neither. I was planning on going to a very English-heavy school back in Japan. However, I think earlier in the video I did mention that I am not the best at reading and writing Japanese, right? What happened was that due to that, what happens is that, you know, that GPA is important, right? However, because I couldn't read that, it was hard for me to not only practice.
Get a very high GPA?
Not just that, but even read the problems on the tests. So basically I was learning a lot of subjects in practically a foreign language to me.
Okay.
So that destroyed most of my grades. However, the thing that kept me up, like, yeah.
In Japan, so who chose Canada? You or your parents?
Eventually, I chose Canada. Both of us chose it because, well, first of all my Japanese options got quashed due to my performance. But other than that, Canada. First of all, I've been to Canada.
Yeah, you've been there.
And it's near the States, so I thought it would be very close to it, and maybe I'll get used to it quicker, which was a good assessment on my part. However, the main reason was, compared to the US and the UK, it was cheaper.
It's cheaper?
Yeah, it was cheaper.
Okay.
It was so some Canadian universities in British Columbia and Toronto, they're bloody expensive, to say the least. Yeah,
even in Canada, Winnipeg is a very cheap option, right?
Yeah, this was the one I could afford, and also the one I found most appealing due to the research on the city, its composition, its
Cool. So 2 weeks here, do you feel the education system is very different, completely different compared to Japan?
Actually, regarding high school, if I were to compare it to high school education, it's completely different. They chose the classes for you, but you choose your own
you can
classes.
choose,
However, regarding university, I had several months of break before I came to Canada because the timing when high school ends in Japan and when university, usually you can come to Manitoba at 3 different, how should I say, terms.
Yeah.
And summer, winter, and fall. But I knew that the fall was the normal, the
most intake term. Yeah,
the most intake term, so I just went for it. I visited some Japanese universities which my friend went to. Regarding the system, it is kind of similar, I guess. They choose their own classes and they do it in a big
Okay, in my impression, I just feel like Japanese people can be pretty serious. Very respectful, very serious. Does the teacher like that? But teacher here they're very chill.
I think that's good.
Do you think that's very different? Do you like it?
Regarding that, I like the Canadian version, but regarding the difference, they are very different in that regard. But even back in Japan, some teachers were casual, some were. They demanded politeness, but they didn't show it themselves. Some were both, so they showed respect to their students and vice versa. However, here it's very chill here. Everyone's chill so far. You're always going to meet people who you won't get along with.
Of course. Everybody is
everywhere.
Nowhere is perfect, right?
Nowhere is perfect. Regarding that, it is inevitable. But regarding that, most people here are surprisingly nice. I heard the term friendly Winnipeg before.
Friendly Manitoba.
Friendly Manitoba before I came here. I thought that could have been. I initially thought that could have been an exaggeration, but for most cases, for most people, they are very friendly. One of my other Japanese friends, he was riding on the bus for the first time when he came here, but he didn't know about the bus card. So he tried to use his credit card to do the payment, but it didn't work.
But the bus just let him take it, right?
Both, and also a random stranger gave him a Pego card.
Pego card,
which he gave to him and said, next time you ride the bus, use this. So regarding
people here are very
people here are very kind and they're very community based, right?
I always say that Canada is very community based. People help each other, just like a very small community. Even though we're a huge country, but we don't have lots of people, right? Population wise, it's
50 million.
40 million.
40
we just passed 40.
Oh, really?
And then everywhere just. Here 3,000, there 5,000, there 10,000.
It is very spread out. So that's also a big difference. The population density here is actually when you go to big cities, people are a bit more concentrated. But for outside cities, there's plains, there's some small settlements and small towns and stuff. But most of the people here live in big cities such as Winnipeg, Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Quebec, and Ottawa, Toronto.
You know all the big cities. Good research. You're prepared.
Actually, that was more because I I like geography.
Oh, you like geography? I love geography too.
Yeah,
yes.
really?
Yeah. That was my favorite course when I was in school. Yeah. That's why I'm interested in different culture, different country. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a few weeks in Canada in the school now.
Yeah.
Have you done any quiz? Quiz or tests, exams?
Oh, quiz. I did do it this Monday for the first time.
What course was that?
Math 1300.
Okay.
So.
How did you feel?
Oh, actually, I still began this whole thing, so I don't know what's going to happen next, but the quiz itself, as long as you, at least for the first week, as long as you study the very basics, the lab sheets they give you, you'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
But during class, they do teach you more complex stuff, which I kind of struggle to like understand sometimes because, well, some of the things I did before, some of them was done in a different manner compared to how they teach it in Japan. Some of it was, well, normal, but yeah, something I could remember. So it's a mix of... And
also, you're Japanese. You're from Japan.
Yeah.
Your math should be better than the Canadian math at this moment, you know? I don't know about 1 year later or 1 term later, but now, probably you learned most of the things in Japan already, right?
Kind of. Like, regarding, I'm doing matrices in Math 1300.
Okay.
And regarding that, the matrices themselves were new, complete new, but there was I knew a way that back in Japan, which you could use to solve it.
Yeah, okay.
But regarding that, the Japanese education system regarding math did help me in understanding that in that regard, but honestly, even though Japan's famous for math, unless you go to a very specialized or high-level high school at the beginning, it is, I believe it's, math-wise, it is actually decently similar to, it's just that back in Japan, you do kind of have to require to do all these stuff early because the exam system.
You have to prepare that before the class, everything?
Not just that, but in Japan, we have an exam which decides which universities you can go to.
Oh, the
entrance exams.
Yeah, exams, okay.
Some high-level universities do demand heavy, like, some university level.
You have to reach a certain point of point scores,
Yeah, exactly. But regarding the basic math, like unless you go specialized, it is very similar to here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in a classroom, teacher is speaking in English, blah, 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 blah. Do you understand?
About that.
Where's the teacher from?
One of my teachers is from the Philippines, one is from, I believe, India, and the other is probably Canadian.
Okay.
Other than that, there's another guy from, I think, either Sri Lanka, India, or maybe somewhere in Dubai, around the area, but...
Did you understand their accent? Because everybody has different accents.
Okay, this is actually a big tip I think everyone will find, very helpful, and you'll probably be glad that you did this in the future, but... Before I selected all my professors, I spent 6 hours researching every single one of them. And there's a site called Rate My Professors where people can rate their professors and stuff. If you research like UOM, some professor, something, ratings, that will come up. It's that site I use a lot. And other than that, I use social media, like the school shows social media as well as university social media to basically see anyone's talking about this specific teacher, if he's a good teacher or not, is he a good person or not, does he have a strong accent or not. And I picked the teachers which
has the best rating.
Not just the best rating, but I looked at the comments. Some teachers, like most of the teachers here are really good. Like they teach very well. However, even though they might have good teaching skills, some people will struggle.
Of course.
At the very first time.
It's not for everyone, right?
It's not for everyone. So some accents. So for example, I had a decision between 3 math professors. I did a research on all of them. They all had very high ratings, above 4 at least. Some of them even around 5. However, the students who I think rated them were very fair in that regard because they rated them 5-star, 4-star and stuff. But they did add a point that their accent is a bit hard to understand. So they gave them high ratings for their performance regarding teaching and stuff. But they did add a warning that this professor has a strong accent, you should get used to it real quick, something like that.
Yeah.
So if you're researching professors, like don't just look at the ratings numbers, just read all the comments, see whatever like issues that they may have.
It's like shopping online.
Yeah, shopping,
Choose your product as well. So I'm so glad he mentioned about that. So this is the first time when I'm talking with someone, a student, who's bringing that up. But I always, in my channel, I don't think I have lots of mainland Chinese audience, but a lot of people from Chinese speaking from Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau, Malaysia, those places, okay?
Yeah.
So this is something I think I would like to suggest. If you choose a university, choose a course, please look at the professor, like what he said.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is very, very important.
This is very important.
You may face a professor that you guys have totally different opinion.
Everything. Sometimes.
Yeah. So you guys you feel struggle with the professor. It doesn't mean the professor is bad or you are wrong. It's just you guys don't fit.
Yeah, exactly.
So I really think this is a very, very good point. I'm so glad today I interviewed you. I think this is gonna help a lot. So please.
Yeah, please.
If you are watching this, no matter if you're parents or if you're a student in the future, remember this. Choosing a university, choosing a course, do some research about the professor.
Exactly.
My background, back in long time ago, I was a musician. I was music.
Really?
So I told my friends, their kids, they asked me, hey, James, you work in university now. How should I choose university? I said, universities, they are no good or bad. Depends on which faculty, which course you want to take.
That's true.
I learn music. I won't send, if my son, my daughter, if they are doing music, I won't send them to Harvard, Cambridge. They're not famous for music. You know what I mean? I would choose a very famous music school for them.
Right.
And if they're learning violin, there's so many good violin professors in the world. I need to choose the best one fit my son's style. Those, this is the time consuming you need to make.
Yeah,
right?
I cannot stress this enough.
Yeah, I really, really appreciate that you mentioned that. This is very, very important. Parents usually just think, which university is good? I send my kids there.
Yeah, it's not that simple. It's way more complex than that.
It is. I think I may need to translate this part into Chinese subtitles so my Chinese audience can see that.
Oh, but the reason I'm still a freshman, and the reason I came to think this way is because I said earlier that my school started in September, but all my Japanese friends, their university started in April. So I got to ask them about their university experiences. I knew that, well, from experience and also from a lot of people talking to me, that some of them, they get great professors, but they didn't do any research on it. So sometimes they got lucky, some classes they got great professors. Other times they got very bad ones. Like one of my friends, she had a professor who had a degree, but he didn't know how to teach. Yeah,
you have a degree doesn't mean you're a good teacher, right?
Yeah.
You can be a very good player, it doesn't mean you'll be a good coach, right?
Yeah, so my other friend, he is learning Korean, but her teacher is very strict and very emotional, so she apparently did some things with his grade. Even though on the other Korean course he passed, he didn't on this one. So it's worth mentioning that the teachers, and regardless of it's Manitoba, all of Canada, or everywhere.
Yes.
I don't know why it's really consistent among almost every single country, but keep in mind that the professors has a lot of autonomy here. They shape how the class works, everything from assignments to even the labs, to even how they operate, in what way they basically have free reign. Some of them will use it responsibly and to help the students, while others will use it emotionally or some of them, regardless of university, some people will abuse their power. So keep that in mind, and I believe that's the best way to approach your class selections and stuff.
Okay, so in this interview, we're gonna end. Before we end, give one advice to all the people you think you can, if they are coming overseas, not even Canada, anywhere in the world, international student, give just one advice, anything you think, what they need to prepare them before they leave their country.
Before they leave their country, before they leave their country, research. I'd say research, like ask everyone, like not just doing Googling, ask anyone who knows about this specific city, this specific school, if they know anyone who knows anyone from there, and or what basically just do high amounts of research. It will not guarantee that everything will be all right, but it will, if you get to know the problems of that place you're going to, or the benefits, you will be more able to appropriately adjust according to the situation. And research will help you dodge a lot of bullets. I believe research is important. Ask everyone, from not just from like the school. You can ask the school, but just also ask social media, communities, anyone, any of the family members, anyone who's been to Canada. Just ask everyone.
So do more research, please. Listen to this. This is someone who has experience study overseas, and then I think I agree with him. So lastly, can you speak something to your, if you want to, say something to your parents, friends back home in Japan? You can speak Japanese to them. It's okay. This is a chance. They may watch this video.
Alright. そしたら、そうね。まあ一応今のところはよく言ってて、まあこういうインタビューには、まあ入れてちょっといろんなこういう行動とかやってるけど、まあ今のところはよく言ってると思う。そしたらまあもし見てたらわかんねえけど、まあ今のところはよく言ってると思う。だから今度何かあった時言っとくよ。I just said that if my parents or any of my friends are watching this, I'm just saying that, you know, like I'm doing fine right now. I'm just organizing everything. And
it's okay. I believe you didn't say anything bad about me.
Oh no, I didn't say anything.
If daddy, mommy say this, don't worry. We're taking care of him. He's safe. He's happy. I think you're happy, right?
So far.
Yeah, so far he's happy. So if he has anything, he can come to talk to me. I'm James. I'm always in the office. You know where I am, right? So.
Actually, can I add one more stuff?
Yes.
This is actually very important because I've seen so many of this is like I did say what you should do after. I mean, before you
leave,
before you leave. But when you come here, trust me when I say this. Even though, regardless if you're an introvert or extrovert, friends will be important here. They will contribute because you'll be away from your parents. A support network will be needed. It is nearly mandatory, I believe, because without it, it's not your mental health is not necessarily your choice. Your environment will affect your mental health, regardless of how if you want it to or not. So when you come here, make
your own circle, make friends.
Make friends.
Make social.
Friends. Be socialized.
I met him in a pre-term starting event. You remember upstairs in the room? So this is, I don't know which episode I will play this. Maybe the first episode, the second or third, I don't know. But you will hear a lot of students were talking about that. Make friends, be social. Study is important, but also you need, like you said, keep your mental health good, you know.
Yeah, like back in many of our cultures back in Asia, mental health is considered secondary, but
but now I think it's very important. Just seem like your physical health, right?
It is arguably more important regarding academics for studying when it comes to mental health is probably more important than physical health in that regard.
I agree.
It is I'm not a psychologist, but if humans have over the times evolved to become social creatures, the only reasons we survived or evolved, regardless if there's lions like bigger animals than us, is because we used our brains and also we worked together. That is what made the human civilization survive up until this point. And because of that, it is widely believed by some anthropologists, some biologists, that the human brain has a system which basically encourages socialization. And without it, the human brain will do something. I forgot what exactly was it, but it will do something to force that socialization. And that thing that the brain does will damage you. So socialization is very important, especially like back in your home countries. You might have felt like being an introvert. Like you're fine. Like you just it's really,
because you're in the familiar environment.
yeah,
right?
familiar environment helps, but also parents. Your parents' contribution to your mental health is way larger than you think. And when you're in a different environment and you're away from your parents, that two parts, even if you're an introvert, you will lose that. And
Yeah.
you might be fine for the first several months, but over time it will affect you.
Exactly.
So keep that in mind. I think those 2 points, do research, make friends, those are one of the best ways to...
It's just too key.
Yeah, this is from my personal experience. It may change over time, but this is from...
Yeah. Okay.
That's it for me.
Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。Okay. Thank you for watching this. See you next time.